Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cafe New Canadians. This is a place where we chat about everything that matters to newcomers in Canada, whether you're here already or you're moving soon. We will be talking about issues that are relevant to you, and that will be done through a panel discussion. My name is Shruti Dargan. I'm so pleased to be the host for today's session. And today we will be talking about reskilling into IT professions, wherein we will have as panelists immigrant women who will be sharing their experiences and pathways for you to reskill into IT professions. Let me now, without any further ado, welcome the panelists that we have for today. Of course, the session is brought in collaboration with Mennonite New Life Center. So during this session, you will also be hearing about a specific bridging program, a specialized program which is called Women Program. It is a bridge for immigrant women reskilling into IT coding professions. And you will be learning more about how this program can help, but also through the experiences of participants who are joining us. So now moving on to, of course, the participants joining us today. We have with us Joan, Liudmyla, Frith, Manpreet, and Dania, who is the employment counselor and will be talking a little bit specifically about the program as well. Let's just welcome the panelists and get started with the chat with them. Let's have you, Manpreet, and share a little bit of your introduction, please. In the meantime, let me remind the audience joining us that we can, of course, take your questions. Please don't be shy. Any questions you have with us, you can share in the Zoom option over here, which is the Q&A tab. If you're joining us on YouTube, you can also share those questions in the chat option, and we will bring them up for the panelists to answer.
Hi, Shruti. Thank you for having me on this podcast today. So about me, I'm a current attending this bridging program. I came to Canada in 2024, this year in January. And my coming to Canada has been very exciting and transforming journey for me. And yes, I have also experience of around 5 years, and as a IT, as a quality analyst in IT. But since I was facing some issues, even despite of the experience, so I decided to join this bridging program, which has been a great help till now.
Thank you, Manpreet. Now, you're currently a participant of the program as well. Let's hear a little bit from people who have already taken the program, starting with Liudmyla.
Hi, Shruti. Thanks again for having me as well. So I have been in Canada for 2 years. Recently had my 2-year anniversary. It's been also very challenging and very interesting journey for me. I don't have any previous IT experience, so working with MNLCT has been a challenge indeed, but a very fun and exciting one as well. And I'm happy to share whenever you have any questions. I've also passed the ISTQB exam as well. So in case anybody wants to go through that, I will be more than happy.
Thank you for sharing that. Now, I know that earlier when I said MNLCT, that is Mennonite New Life Center of Toronto, which is the organization that brings the program called Women Program. Joanna, let's hear a little bit from you as well.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me today. My name is Joanna, first of all. I have 4 years experience in customer service and product management, no IT background, and I came into this country with a very challenging situation with my daughter, but I'm glad I achieved what I wanted to, and I can happily say I'm a satisfied QA tester, and I hope to grow in the career more. And if there's any more questions, I will help the newcomers coming. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Moving on to Frith.
Hi, Shruti. It's a pleasure being on this podcast. I've been now 6 years, more than 6 years in Canada, and I'd say my plans sort of pivoted when I had to recover from an accident. And before that, I have 11 years experience in procurement, supply chain, and a large scale analytics project that was part of a procurement transformation. Apart from that, I've worked in the IT department, but more on an admin side, coordinating different aspects aspects of the projects or disaster recovery. And I've always wanted to build hard skills. And being a creative person, I felt that I wanted to approach programming from not just an analytics perspective, but to be able to understand it and also to train my resilience, because it's an entire new way of thinking, just like understanding statistics.
That is so right. Thank you for sharing that introduction, Frith. Now, before we move on to Dania, I wanted to just highlight that, of course, IT as a field is so high in demand. There are lots of jobs available, but there's also a shortage of labor in Canada. Employers are looking for the right kind of talent that they can bring into their organizations. And bridging programs such as these, maybe the one that we're talking about today, or in general, the experiences that you will share will help our attendees learn more about how they can either pivot into a career that they had no experience in, or probably the experience that they brought with them from their home countries when they moved to Canada. How can they reapply some of those skills or transfer those skills into a newer profession and explore something like that? Dania, with that, I think would be the perfect segue to have your introduction, and if you could also introduce the program to our audience.
Okay, of course. So my name is Dania. I actually recently joined Mennonite New Life Center. It's about 3 months that I have joined them, and I love the idea of what they are doing and how much they are helping and what kind of supports they do. I do have a few slides that I would like to share with you today to talk a little bit more for people who would like to know a little bit more about Mennonite New Life Center. And then, so today specifically, I'm going to speak about the Sea Women Bridging Program. This bridging program, it is a bridging program for immigrant women who want to reskill their skills into IT. So they not necessarily have to have educational background in IT, but want to reskill and want to enter IT field. And we include all professional backgrounds, because we do believe that all backgrounds and all the experience that you have from your country, it is very valuable for the future where you're going to be working. Whatever field you're going to be working, IT is always a part of it. So definitely that is one of those things. So again, we are part of Mennonite New Life Center, and we are part of Ontario Employment Ontario, which means that a lot of our programs are at very, very low cost or free to take. So we do also have settlements. We do have other bridging programs. So definitely we would be happy to hear from you if you're looking. So if you are thinking about joining or reskilling your skills and joining Sea Women program, this program is available for everybody who lives in or resides in the province of Ontario. The duration of the program is 6 months. The next cohort actually is starting pretty soon, which is next month. So we already have applications and there are limited seats. So if you are interested, definitely reach out. We will conduct another 3 info sessions before August 15th. What will you be learning? You're going to be learning coding, basically Python fundamentals, quality assurance foundations, software testing, manual and automation testing, which is going to be done in Selenium. Again, the next info session is August 5th, and that has been moved to August 7th. So if you go to Eventbrite, definitely you can find out more information about current info sessions. Again, if you do want to check our programs, you can go to MNLCT Bridging Programs in Eventbrite. If you want to find more information, here is our QR code that you can scan. And with this scan, you can also, if you don't like to scan, definitely you can visit our website at mnlct.org/seawomen. And that would be basically it. And I'd be more than happy to answer any questions later on.
Thank you, Dania. I think that definitely gives our audience a good idea of what to expect from this program. But of course, we are gathered here to also hear about the experiences. Information sessions that are done by various organizations are an opportunity wherein you can learn more about the course modules and so much more. But this would be an opportunity to hear from previous participants and a current participant to know from them their lived experiences, what they're learning, how they're benefiting, and more than anything else, I think the community that they're building together and this network that they have, having been part of the program. Now, I want to get started with a word that I heard when all of you as participants were sharing a little bit about your journey was challenges. That the initial period was challenging, or there were challenges as you started exploring your pathway into IT professions here. So let's hear one by one, starting with Frith. If very briefly, if you could highlight what was that specific challenge professionally that you faced after you moved to Canada, and how were you able to work on it? Without sharing the whole details, but if you could highlight the main concern that you had initially.
I was aware that many people would not know what I can do or when I worked, although the company I worked for is even in Canada and all around the world, it still is a new market in ways. And just by word of mouth, maybe some people would be able to say and give me some sort of credibility of what I'm claiming to know. And so just thinking about what my network is was one of the challenges. And to be honest, it was also something that made me smile, because there were many people that wanted to help and understand where I want to go, what I want to do. So, but still, getting your foot in the door is something that you can put all effort into, but you have to keep going and hope for yourself to be noticed.
You're so right there, and I can see all the other panelists nodding. So coming quickly to Joanna, what would you want to add to what Frith has just shared? It sounds like you've had a similar journey.
Yes, I want to say we're all in the same cohorts, me, Liudmyla, and Frith. So we kind of are familiar with the challenges we had. First of all, I just wanted to say, for me, I loved challenges. It was like rush for me. When I see problems, I run towards it instead of away from it. It's crazy sometimes, but that's how it works for me, because coming here as a single mom, coming through a lot of trauma that I did, because I went through a lot of trauma, and then I lost my mom during that period. So I just wanted to prove to myself that I could go into the IT world and do it, because I had a lot of, are you sure you don't have a IT background and you're going into this? So the way I approached it was never giving up. I kept going. I never get discouraged. And the program comes with a lot of nurturing. The instructors nurture you a lot. They make sure you are not falling off. They're really caring, and never had that kind of learning experience in my life. Because where I'm coming from is a kind of a masculine country. It's not much of, you have to prove yourself on your own. You're not really given the tools.
Yes.
Yeah, you're given the tools as a leader. Like I came in, I don't have a problem speaking publicly as a leader and all, but I never understood the difference between the country I was coming in, because I'm just 2 years in Canada, and where I'm coming is a masculine country, and Canada is a feminine country. So I had to learn how to talk, the
cultural nuances changed.
Exactly. In fact, I got a job. I got an interview before coming here, and what I do is I would tell people, always never be scared to fail, because failure is only when you stop trying. And I never ever stop failing. I try as much as possible to, I'm so sorry about that. I try as much as possible to make sure I learn from my failures and I don't give up. I had to make sure I create a different schedule for myself.
Yes.
Like during the QA class, it was quite boring. My friends and my classmate now would testify we're almost sleeping in the class at the time. But I had to tell myself, I went through the Python class, and I succeeded in it with all the trials I had, the lateness and not being in class, dropping my daughter in the daycare and crying in the bus. I'm like, I'm going to miss my class. And you cannot miss any class in the Python class when you don't have experience in IT, because you have to catch on with the best of the best. And we had brilliant people in the class, I have to say. So
I'll interrupt you there just because I feel like you touched upon a few different things, and I'm making notes to come back to it.
Okay,
No,
so
don't
sorry.
worry about it. I'm making notes to come back to it because I definitely want to dive deeper into, the course specifics that you were just talking about and the skills that one learns.
Yeah.
But just because you also mentioned a little bit about, those challenges. And the reason at this point, I'd also want to maybe highlight, I started with challenges because it is possible that from the attendees that are joining us today, there might be a few people who are in that phase that you were maybe a couple of months or years ago, wherein you were trying to bridge that gap that you had in your resume or in your international experience and kind of translating that into the experience that one can have in Canada. And that's the reason why we wanted to start with the challenges and slowly get into how you've been able to, of course, the program is one way that enables you to overcome those challenges, but it's also all of you with your own skill sets. And you mentioned problem solving. That is big when it comes to being able to handle any challenge that is thrown at you as an immigrant. Liudmyla, just building on what Frith and Joanna said earlier, is there something new that you would want to add?
Yes, I actually wanted to add to Joanna's idea about how different was the job search in Canada from whatever I'm used to in my own home country. Like some of the things I've never even experienced before, like networking. For me, it never has been that much of a trouble or like a question or something that I needed to do. But with a lot of careful guidance and a lot of points from our instructors, I actually started to do it and not getting that rejection that I had before. Because for me, networking is complicated because I'm more of an introverted person. So for me to get out there and kind of promote myself as a specialist was quite a challenge. But I should tell everybody that it's not that big of a deal, to be honest. And you can get through it, definitely. But you just need a little bit more of maybe like research and how to do it properly, and maybe like never be afraid to ask some help, because it can be always a good thing, and it can open a lot of doors for you.
Thank you for sharing that. Manpreet, you're someone who is currently taking the program. So you're in the process of solving those challenges that you may have been facing very recently. But is there something that you want to add to what your co-panelists have shared so far?
Yeah, so as Liudmyla and Joan already mentioned, there is a huge difference when you apply a job application in Canada as compared to the home country, and also networking is very crucial, and we realized when we came here. And apart from that, I would like to add, like when I came here, and I acknowledge that I need to upskill myself, learning new technical skills, incorporating and moving along the technology is very important. So this was the thing I gained knowledge, and that's when I decided to join and get some support in this way.
Thank you. Now, Dania, coming to you, I wanted at this point, I think it would be good for the attendees to also understand how a program like this. So we've mentioned that these are bridge training programs, C-Women program is a bridging program. Would you be able to highlight the main difference between, say, a bridging program and how that is different from the slightly longer certificate programs or the courses, which are more academic, whereas this would be focused on training and there would be a job search element or job support element as well?
That's right. So let me tell you a little bit about the program itself. So again, as I mentioned before, the program has two components of it. It has coding, right? And in Python, and then it has automation testing. From those, you can actually deviate into two careers. So when it comes to coding, you can go into, software engineering, programming itself, or you can deviate into software testing, quality assurance, where I would believe, or I do believe, that having a base knowledge of coding is sufficient to successfully transition into software testing or software automation testing and into quality assurance. And we do this part of this course. What is wonderful also is that we have a preparation for ISTQB, which is a nationally recognized software testing certificate. So as Joan and Liudmyla, they even though they had no IT background, they were persevered. They did found a lot of challenges, but they did it. They actually passed it. And this is a wonderful example of whatever you do, whatever you put your mind to, you can do it. Now, what's the difference between other bridging programs? So this program is a little bit different. Even though it has the title of bridging program, it's not fully a bridging program. Why? Because bridging programs usually take a person's previous background from their countries, and usually most of the bridging programs have 2 years of working experience in their country as part of the prerequisite that will lead into, or we will the classes will assist to bridge into employment in Canada. Well, with C Women, it's a little bit different. There is no such a prerequisite. As long as you have any working experience in your country for 2 years, you are eligible to join our program. So we do not specify that you have to have IT background in order to join our program. You have to have will, you have to be definitely continuous learner, you have to persevere, but this 6 months can transform your life and actually can give you the tools, the basic. First, I tell every client or every participant, we give you the basic tools, and there are additional tools, especially in software automation, that do not take that much time to learn, but are achievable. So definitely this is something that, again, it's different from other bridging programs. You don't have to have IT, but when you go in, as long as you dedicate yourself full-time hours, right?
You can make the most of the program.
100%.
Yes. Liudmyla, now that brings me to you, because you were one of the people who mentioned that you did not have a previous background in IT. So I'm intrigued, and I'm kind of interested to know what made you develop that interest, and how come that you chose coding to be the pathway into IT career?
That's actually an interesting question, because it also has an interesting story. Like, as I said, I moved to Canada 2 years ago, and I decided that I wanted a bit of a change. I already switched the country. Why not switching my profession in general? So for me, the IT has also always been, like that Atlantis that's very like hidden and interesting to explore. So when I actually came across this program, I was very intrigued. And I've never actually counted myself as a person who was technical, who was good with like math and stuff. But let me tell you, when I got the challenges and I went through them, the satisfaction that flowed over me, it just, I don't know, it just covered for everything, for all of the disappointment that I had previously, for all the things that I didn't get like at the first time, because of course you're not going to get everything at the first time. So the more I was in the program, the more I understood that I actually made a very good decision to try my like power in this and to try myself on this. Even though right now I'm still thinking about and doing more studying, I'm not really having a profession at this moment. I'm pretty sure that the bases that I got in MNLCT are wonderful. And I don't think that I would be able to do them or to get them if I would be doing just research on my own, or like doing the courses on my own. because it's a definitely interesting experience to go through, because you have other people with different backgrounds, different professions with different experience coming in together and then working together for a common goal.
That's great. Now, my question to you is more with, say, a hypothetical person that we're talking about, and someone who wants to, without experience, wants to actually move into this career. So with your experience, you've shared that what is required to actually get started. Frith and Joanna, I'd like to know from you and from your experience within working in the sector, what would be the key skills that you will highlight that are required in a person who is working towards finding a job in IT professions? Frith, I'll get started with you.
Sure. So what I want to share, and I think many of my classmates know this, my colleagues know this, but every day I used to have a cry and talk to my friend who changed from whatever he was doing to IT. And we'd talk every day and he'd tell me, you're changing how to think. You're developing new neural pathways. It's going to hurt. And I would feel this imposter sort of syndrome. And I would wonder if I'll be able to do it. Another friend said to me, when he took computer science, he felt it was not for him. But he stuck with it. He's doing really well now. And these two people trained my sights further into where I wanted to be. So every day I tried to do whatever I could. And I started failing better. So the quality, I would say, is resilience, but also learn to reach out, because some of my colleagues also helped me to figure out things I did not understand. And it was just a phone call going like, I don't know what's going on with that, but I have figured this part out, you know, and be okay with feeling like you don't know. It's okay. It's absolutely okay. You will get to know. And later on, you'll think that, oh, that was so simple. But that's because you did it so many times, it's now making sense. So
that's so right. So that's more about the mindset and the resilience and, you know, how to kind of prepare yourself for an IT career. Joanna, moving to you, I'll ask you more about some technical skills that you could highlight or soft skills that you would want to highlight that in your experience, having taken this program or in general within the career or in the industry, what would you highlight are key skills that one needs to develop or will slowly develop as they're progressing towards finding a career in this field?
Firstly, I would say you have to have passion in going into IT. It has to be something you want to do. And then with this program, it's going to help you develop leadership skills, problem-solving skills, for sure. And as Frith said, resilience, because you have to keep going. And what you need to understand here in IT, the process of learning is through failing. It's true, getting to understanding why you fail. If you understand that and practice, you get it right. And technical skills, it just depends on, because IT is very vast. I would say for QA, as a QA automation, you would need to learn certain tools like Selenium. You need to know how to use, there's other tools to use, because I'm new in the IT too, but I know you have to know how to be able to automate. And then you need to understand, because using Selenium, you can actually use Java or Python. And here they teach you Python, because I think when you're going into IT, the easiest programming language to go into is through Python. So that's that basics that they do for the first period of the program, very much important. Please, I would advise you, anyone going into it, please put your mind into it, because when you get to the automation, it's going to be very easy for you to understand what that means. But all I need to tell you is just practice. Never stop practicing. And after you're done with the program, I would say don't be scared to apply for IT jobs. claiming you're not ready, because how you learn to tackle those and understand what they want in the IT business is you being there firsthand. When you go for the interview, don't put in your mind that I want to get the job. You just want to experience what this means. And that's what I'm trying to do right now. Go to the interview, learn what they want, go back to my closet and do my learning and growing on the skills, because the skills is always going to be changing. So you have to always update. If you don't have the skill to continuously learn in the IT industry, it's not for you, because you have to continuously learn and you have to be resilient too.
I so agree with what you said, that the first few interviews have to be that stepping stone into the desired job that you're looking for.
Exactly.
Continuing this conversation about technical skills or, the skill set that one needs to either build or bring with them. Dania, of course, in your experience as an employment counselor, you are in touch with participants, you are in touch with the program, like the professors, I can say, and also employers who are looking for talent. What are some skills that you would want to highlight that employers look for in talent coming out of, say, either this program or other people interested in IT professions?
So the two skills that are the must skills to have is problem solving skills and analytical skills. So, and this skills, the problem solving skills, you have to be curious, you have to be resilient, you have to have some planning to it, right? So, and you have to sometimes think outside the box. So the idea of pushing yourself to think outside the box. Sometimes we know that we know how to overcome problems when we fail, right? We learn how not to do things when we fail. So that's okay. Like Joanna was saying, especially with coding, you run a code. If you're missing a dot, the program will not run. So you try. Next time you will not forget the dot.
That would be
Right?
the reminder that stays, yes.
That's right, exactly. And then when you're writing, or, this field is growing. So this means that because this field is growing, this means that the juniors that were juniors now become seniors. And I was saying, depending on the company, sometimes companies, they are new. They need extra hands to help them grow. Sometimes the company is already big and the juniors are growing to seniors, so they still need juniors, they still need hands, right? So there are different, no matter what position you are looking for, whether it is a senior or junior, the positions will be open. You have to just find the right position, the right company that will be looking for that position. So you have to also stay resilient, you have to network, you have to be willing to investigate and put your foot forward, even asking questions, going to a company by knowing that they do automation testing, saying, hey, hello, my name is so-and-so. I was wondering if I can have 5 minutes, or I would like to bring forward my resume. I would like to connect with you on LinkedIn, really do the networking part. And so this would be part. So number one, problem solving, analytical, and maybe networking skills, or you can hone it. We are there to teach you how to do that too. So it's not like you're by yourself. We teach you how to do it.
Thank you for sharing that. Let me also share a question that I see over here in the chat, and a reminder for everyone attending this session. Those of you who are joining us on Zoom live here, please type your questions in the chat option. That would make sure that, one, we don't miss it, and two, the other attendees will also have the option of upvoting a question. So if you want that specific question to be answered, just like it, and we will bring that up first. A question here is more about the job placement component of the program. Is there a job placement after completion of the course, or how does that work? Dania?
So for this program, there is no job placement, there is job support. So however, we are partnering up with different employment agencies, because the new before what has happened is, once a person was in a bridging program, they were not able to be open in another Employment Ontario Center. However, that has changed. So the the new standard is that they can be open in both centers. So what we are doing right now proactively, so for people who are willing to work with a job developer, we are partnering up with other EO centers who do have job developers, so they get support from two places. So they get support from me for the next year, and then at the same time they get support for EO center where they have a job developer. And some of the nonprofits do have co-op placements too for people who have previous experience in IT. So definitely there is resources that we provide them, provide every participant. The idea is communication, so everybody have to be proactive, ask questions, and inquire.
Thank you. Now, some of the things that, the panelists here shared were about mindset and resilience and the skill set that one needs to build. But I also heard from some other panelists, and Dania, you as well, about, how people within the industry, they will be progressing to become juniors and seniors in various different jobs. In this scenario right now, Manpreet, you're still a part of the program and you're here with people who have completed the program. So these could be the people in your network who move on to have jobs that, you can connect with as well. Within the program, if you could highlight what was it like for you to have a batch of, say, students or colleagues with you, learning the same skills as you and being able to network, share experiences, because as immigrants or as newcomers, we're all also experiencing a new country, also experiencing a new culture, along with trying to make it professionally. So share a little bit from your experience of being part of this program.
Being part of this program and having, get a chance to network with women and who have been either reskilling themselves or doing a career change or joining a IT sector after a certain gap. So it is really wonderful because some of my colleagues are in Canada for a long time. For being a newcomer in Canada, interacting with them is very beneficial, apart from career as well, and personal help and personal networking is very helpful when we connect with each other. We connect we talk about our problems and we help to solve each other and support in different manners as well. Also, having a network with the people who are mentoring us, like Dania and Rawan, who taught us Python. It was amazing because we get insights like how the Canadian job market actually works, and we get to insights like how the things are working and what we are expected to do when we get to a job, how we are to communicate in a workplace, and all that stuff. And that we get from that I received from after joining this program was very crucial for me. And yes, networking with my colleagues, it's a great benefit because getting a colleague and friends as well in this course was a great benefit. Yeah.
Joanna, the same question for you as well. Earlier you mentioned that you've had a traumatic past. You also talked about having this network together of people. When as immigrants, when we go through our challenges, there's only a certain set of people around you who've been through the same challenges, who can fully understand, what it feels like. Talk to me a little about, your experience of finding a network of like-minded individuals who are working to build a career in the same profession.
Yes, thank you for the question, because it played a very huge part in my growth in the course, because because of my past trauma, I've been isolated, and it was very difficult for me to network again, even if I had the skills of networking because of my background in customer service. But my colleagues were kind of my greatest motivation. Frith, sorry to call you out, but she was one of my huge motivation because of what happened to her, and she was never, not a day would she be like down. She's always so open to ask questions, and I could see how eager she was. I'm like, if she's in that position, she is, because I said she is an advantage. Every disability is an advantage. It's just the way you see it. But the way she was going forward, always wanting to learn, was what motivated me to want to continue in the program, because I was like, if she could do it, I could do it better. So I have to work harder. So, and she was never giving up. And then we had a group chat. My I have to say I was in the best set ever. Sorry, I know there's other cohorts, but because they were there to help. If you have any question, we post on the group. People are coming to help you, and these are my colleagues with like 6 years experience in IT. They already know what they're doing there. So when they post, I never want to copy what they're doing. I just like to ask them how they do it. How do you prepare? And I learn from the steps they give me. Mila, she was a beast in the course, especially in the QA part. She was like one of the best in the class, I have to say. And I learned, because when we have group assignments, because I'm always working with my daughter, I'm a single mom, so sometimes I'm in a class like every Tuesday and Thursdays. I'm at work, I'm with my daughter at the same time, and I'm in the class, so I'm multitasking. So I'm not always in the class. But what I get from my mates is like they give me the assignment, give me the instructions, and I catch up. So it gives you a community of networking, and it have helped me till now. So I have to say thanks to the program anyways.
Frith, moving on to you, I would definitely ask you a little bit about the community aspect of the program, but also, the interactions or the connections that one is able to make, not just with the program facilitators and your peers, but also with employers, or maybe with guest lecturers that come in, and, industry professionals who come in for, say, a guest lecture or to share a workshop. Tell me a little bit about, how that has impacted your personal and professional journey.
Okay, I was just making 3 points, so I remember what aspects to answer. So I'll talk about the community, and instantly I had all these colleagues, and we're going through this journey together. So there's a shared goal, and as time passed, we got closer because we started getting to know each other. And we also received personal leadership courses. So that helped us to look at communication, clean communication, being able to be clear. And because of this community, I actually went in for events, like one of those would be the Microsoft Reactor. If it weren't for one of my colleagues, I wouldn't even consider going there, because I would think that I'll take my time before going there. And when I went there, I made even more contacts and got to know a lot just by attending one event, and that led to me attending some more. So I was out there. I was actually also participating. I didn't expect myself to participate. I thought I'd be a fly on the wall, and I gave myself permission to, exit in 45 minutes. But I was there to the end, making notes and planning further meetings. So this is the community and connection aspect. We also had different sessions with recruitment agencies. We had other professionals explaining their journeys. We had also mentorship, a program we could apply for. So there were various sessions to kind of inform us what's out there and what could be there. So after that, it's our input, our imagination, right? So this is how we understand how people have navigated their paths through the industry, and what they thought about, where they were, how they made certain choices, what worked out, what they did when things didn't work out, and that just helps you to relate and think that, okay, you know what, I have to expect that maybe 1/3 of what I do will work, and I have to put in the 100%.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think it's the resilience is a thread that in a way continues through our chat. And it is so key, not just for a profession like this, but as I mentioned earlier, in the immigration journey, right from one applies to once you're here and you're navigating life and work as a new immigrant, or it is full of challenges or curveballs that you navigate and you figure out as it comes. Liudmyla, moving to you. talk to me a little bit about, your personal journey and professional journey as well, and how that has changed. Because for you, it's a different field that you're training yourself for. How has that impacted also, the way that you think, or the way that you have been approaching job search, maybe through your connections with previous participants of the program, who in a way can be informal mentors as well for the next cohort?
So I started the program when I was already for 1 year in Canada, or even a little bit more. And I didn't really have a good base in terms of work. So for me to get not only the preparation for the Python, for the QA part, but also getting this very crucial Canadian understanding of the workplace, of the communication, of what is required and how to navigate it more, was really important to get. Also, we received training on how to be more assertive. I've never thought about it before as well, but if you need to negotiate some things in your workplace, it's always better to do it in a good way and not to kind of impact the relationship that you have at the workplace in a negative way. So now I kind of see those spots where it could be suspicious or where it's a thin ice, and I try to navigate those spaces especially carefully, because I already got the training, so I already know how. And of course, I approach every communication as an opportunity to get to know another person. I don't even start to think about getting something from the person. It's never how you should approach another person. You are getting to know them and they're getting to know you. And in the end, it might be a connection. If not, you just had a good time, you learned something from it. So that's another way. So definitely, those additional studies that we had helped me in general to understand better how Canadians are approaching their workplace.
And that, as you highlighted, that is one of the key components of, say, specialized programs such as these, which aren't specifically academic, but there's a training component involved, there is job support involved, and there is learning about the Canadian culture, the Canadian workplace, and how things function. As people who move from different parts of the world, there are a lot of different cultural nuances and changes and differences that are quite apparent to us when we move to a new country. So definitely, the cultural aspect and the communication is key when it comes to programs like these. Dania, I would want to bring this question to you. So we have a question in the Q&A tab asking more about, something that Joanna said earlier is that you have to keep practicing to be at the top. But how do you really go about doing that? For someone who probably does not have experience in the field, but is interested in pursuing IT as a career, what would be your advice? One, as an employment counselor, and I would add a part to this question, that in your interactions with current participants, previous participants, what other challenge is a big challenge that most participants face, and what would be your advice to overcome that in their process of pursuing an IT career and reskilling for it?
Okay, so number one, let's talk about the challenges. And I think with a lot of clients that I met, the first thing we talk about stress management. And part of the stress management, I think everybody heard, I am very big supporter of the Eisenhower matrix. So basically, whatever you do, you kind of divide it into 4, what is urgent, not urgent, important, not important. And then we go into what do you do when you have everything in the pile of everything is important, everything is urgent, because that's what happens to a lot of people, not only our participants, but people. You have so many things to do. So then we divide this one into, we put dates into it, we put how much time, and we kind of look into our availability, what we have within the next month. So it's a lot of pre-planning, right? And the minute you organize yourself, you pre-plan, then your stress becomes less. So anybody who is dealing with a lot of stress, writing things down, prioritizing them, using Eisenhower matrix, right, and putting things on calendar can really help when the stress management. The other part is how do you navigate this whole when you don't have IT background? So when I joined this program, I noticed, okay, we give the participant fantastic base tools, but the IT world does not run on those base tools. So then I started to make more research, and I said, okay, what other tools can I provide the participants that are either for free or very short time to learn? Because those are the two. When you're a newcomer, your budget usually is low. When you are you don't have a job, your budget is usually low. So I started to research the courses that they can take that again are either free or very, very low cost and take very little time. So for example, there is one course in particular that takes 1 hour, the other is 2 hours. I think the most course that it took
Would you be able to share the names of one or two such courses that the attendees will also be able to look up and take?
Sure. So this would be specific to automation. So for example, when you are in automation, one of the other tools that is very famous is Jira. And to understand the basic of Jira, it takes about 2 hours. So 2 hours of learning. Udemy, Coursera has those, and again, they are free. Now, there are two parts for it. If you don't look carefully, you're going to have to pay for it. But Udemy and Coursera, they have this wonderful thing that the learning is free, but the certificate costs money. So finding the course that is learning rather than certificate course, that will be the big hint. Another tool, for example, for testing is Postman. And Postman, you can learn within 1 hour. Once you understand, Selenium, once you understand the Jira plugins that you're using, Postman will take you 1 hour to learn. However, it becomes a big deal when you don't have this on your resume, right? So learning little tools, and there's a whole list of it, or AWS. So again, there are little tools that they can learn. It does not take time, but they can build on it. So the biggest tools they have, additional tools they can learn in a very short period of time, but they have to schedule time. And also part of the stress management is when you are new to Canada, if you're a job seeker period, as a counselor, the biggest advice would be make sure you schedule your time 8 hours a day and have a hard stop. So if you're looking for a job, it is 8 hours a day. You wake up 9 a.m., you work for 3-4 hours, you take 1 hour break, you go back and you do another 4 hours of job search, networking, making your resume, making yourself better. But at 5, you stop. And then you have time. You always have to make sure that you have time for your family. You have time for yourself. And then especially with the class that did we did, for example, assessment on introvert and extrovert. How do you draw your attention? Find out more about you. So if you're an extrovert, you will want to go and have a coffee in a place where there's a lot of people or a mall. If you're an introvert, maybe you need some time. You can go to a park and just reflect and take some time to recharge. So next day, you can be more giving, but having that balance. And one day is always off. So have one day that is completely off and you do whatever you want to do. You want to sleep, you want to give it to family, whatever you want to do, it's your choice. So I think this would be part of the stress management.
You're reiterating what someone had told me earlier when I was very new to the country, that treat job search like a job. So you put in all the hours that are needed, but then you also turn off your computer and then you have a life to attend to after.
Yes, because once we have the stop, what happens to our brain seems to all the time think about it when we when we are studying or when we are searching for the jobs. It's always in our mind. But once we have a hard stop, then we give permission for it to start again tomorrow, and we take a break and we can be stronger and better.
That's great advice for people to be able to manage their time and approach job search with a more strategically. Now, something that was included in the title of this session was Reskilling for IT Professions. Immigrant Women Share Their Experiences and Pathways. We've talked a lot about the experiences in terms of pathways. Surely one of the ways is the C Women program that allows training, allows job search support, and of course, the network and connections, and even support after when you find a job. There is still that connection and network that you can fall back to. But coming back to the reskilling part, It sounds like all of the panelists have shared they've learned new skills, they've learned new techniques to be able to manage things. So I'd like to go around and ask one by one, what would be your biggest achievement that you would say, or what would be something professionally that you have learned or achieved that you would want to highlight, either through this course or in preparation for this career? Starting with Manpreet.
Yeah, so Shruti, like I told you, I have experience as a QA in IT industry, but it was purely manual. After my schooling was done, I like for over 5 years, I was no in contact with the coding part. So attending this course, I learned Python and got back to the coding, and I got the skills, and also now learning about new tools like Selenium, APM that would help me to get a career in automation testing as well. This is a technical skill I gained, and I also, as told earlier, getting the soft skills like communication and the workplace ethics. These also skills I gained from this course.
Thank you for sharing that. Joanna, what would be your either achievements that you want to share or top tips related to, say, maybe one top tip that related to reskilling for IT professions? What is it that you did that worked for you, or what is it that somebody else can do?
Oh, okay. The greatest achievement for me in this course is the ISTQB examination that I was able to pass. How I prepared for it was I kind of studied, I used YouTube channels, videos on YouTube, plus my instructor's videos, because he was fortunate for us. He recorded each classes, and then he gave us some links to give you some tools on what you're going to read with. But I was studying on my own on YouTube, merging it together to understand, and ChatGPT helped me too, because ChatGPT is a tool that will help you to like break down the words. Like most people in the course, because we're new to Canada, some of them English is not the first language, so it's quite difficult to understand. But when you post it on ChatGPT and ask it to explain to you the simplest way, and it helps to coach me in preparing for the exam. I used 2 weeks to prepare for the exam. It was quite intense. It was 40 minutes every hour, 20 minutes break. That's how I was taking every day to be able to prepare for this exam, and it worked. And another skill, the Selenium, Python, I learned in this program. Emotional intelligence, I have to say, it's hands-on in this program. It's hands-on. That's one of the most advantage I have, because my siblings are like, you've changed, the way you talk, the way you carry yourself now, I've changed. I'm like, yeah, because I don't see anything as obstacle. I'm like, I will do it, I will get it. And so for the technical skills, Selenium, Jira, now, like Dania said, you can learn that in an hour. She's right, because I'm currently using a YouTube video for free where I'm learning those skills one step of that at a time. Sorry. The Postman, I'm on it right now. So with this program, it will open you, as long as you know Selenium, you're free to go. Learning other skills is quite simple and easy, because we already have the basic programming language already at Python. So that's it.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Liudmyla, very quickly, if you could share your learnings or advice that you have for others who will be slowly moving into finding a career in IT.
Definitely, I would say to triple and double check this course, because it will give you a lot of pinpointers. And if at the end of the day you decide not to go specifically to the QA testing, you have a very good base to explore something else in IT, or you will get a very good understanding on where you would like to move further, because the instructors, the guests that we'll have is going to give you some idea, and you might get it even when you are preparing for the course itself. So I would definitely say that this is a safe space, because it's women for women. And it's, I think for me, like it's the best way to get educated, because you're not scared that you're going to be laughed at. You are supported in every way and everywhere. So definitely just take a look at it. Even if you're scared that IT is not exactly what you're looking for, look at me. I completed the course. I never had IT experience before, and for me it was, even though it was a challenging time, it was a really fun time.
Thank you for sharing that. Frith, coming to you, when it comes to any achievement or learning or advice that you would want to share very quickly.
I second Mila about it being a safe space to learn, especially being a woman. Oh, sorry. Okay. You get you're not functioning on that conditioning you have, because when you're probably in a space where there are male participants and women are, there are studies less to participate. Here you learn and you're not questioning yourself, am I asking something stupid? Another thing I wanted to share is my achievement is actually developing an app that was my idea. We had to do a project, and I gave two presentations. One was a safe project, and the other one was my pet project. And it was all to do with modifying my own behavior and like including habits and stuff. And I really went out there, and you can code something to show how much you know about coding, but the effectiveness, the quality, the scalability, this is the best time to learn coding, because you have so much of assistive technology that helps you inspect what you're doing. So as long as you know the fundamentals of stuff, you have a lot of technology to inspect what you're doing, and you can make the decisions putting it together. And when I showed it to my instructor or to my friends who were supporting me, they had such good feedback that I did not expect. I just was like, okay, I made this. What do you think? And I also implemented a process where you just don't sit down and code. You think, and then with intention, with a use case. And I learned that, oh, wow, I'm not only applying the hard skills of coding, I'm also applying the best practices when it comes to implementation. So I'm really happy about that. I'd say it's my proudest achievement.
Thank you so much for sharing that, and congratulations on making that dream of the app come true as well. I can say this very surely that, it sounds like, and it's very clear that all of you have come a long way from where you started, and in terms of growing in confidence, in achieving things professionally, in working, getting closer to your dream careers as well. Thank you so much for joining us for this session today, for opening up, talking about your personal experiences, professional journeys as well, and highlighting how you have made the most of this program and benefited from it as well. Dania, thank you so much for joining as well and sharing more details about the program. We've come to the end of this session now, and this was Reskilling into IT Professions, and this was brought to you by New Canadians in collaboration with Mennonite New Life Center that provides the program, See Women, that we talked about earlier. You can check out this URL, learn more about the program. There are upcoming information sessions wherein you can learn as well. And before you leave, we'd also want to tell you that Cafe New Canadians is one of those virtual talk shows that we have wherein we discuss more such themes. So we'd love to have you back again for our next session. And as part of the organizers, we at New Canadians have lots of resources similar to Cafe New Canadians and lots of other articles and videos that will help you in your life in Canada. There are various platforms for those in Canada. You can watch us on Omni Television. We have a TV show, which is the only immigrant-focused TV show in Canada. You can also access our content on our website and YouTube channel. And of course, we have a presence across social media. So we would welcome you to follow us there and also subscribe for to our newsletter and receive tips and stories and updates about more programs such as the See Women in your inbox, and then updates about upcoming sessions as well. Thank you to everyone who has stayed throughout this session with us and for spending time learning with us in this session today. Thank you.